Ever thought about the relationship between interest rates and the money supply in an economy? This relationship can indeed seem puzzling initially, but it's a captivating aspect of our economic system, affecting everyday life in ways that may not be immediately apparent. It's like an intricate ballet performance where each step, each twirl is painstakingly choreographed. The rhythm, the pace, the intensity, all are set to the tune of the mysterious entities known as central banks. These institutions, frequently veiled in layers of complexity and jargon, are a cornerstone of the economic landscape. Let's delve a little deeper into this relationship, or ballet, between interest rates and the money supply. Interest rates, in essence, are the cost of borrowing money or the price you pay for the opportunity to utilize someone else's capital. They serve as the economy, an essential marker of its overall health and vitality. These rates, usually represented as a percentage, can fluctuate significantly, often moving in response to a myriad of factors, both domestic and international. In contrast, the money supply is the total amount of money in circulation within an economy at any given point in time. Like the lifeblood of the economy, it flows through its veins, enabling transactions and fostering growth. It's an irreplaceable part of any economy and has a pivotal role in fostering economic stability. Interest rates and the money supply are intricately linked. Each wields a profound influence over the other, resulting in a constant push and pull dynamic. This multifaceted interplay, is at the heart of shaping the economic environment. It's a ballet where the steps are dictated by the rise and fall of these two powerful forces. Central banks are the choreographers of this economic ballet. They have the power to tweak the interest rates, consequently setting the economic narrative much like a maestro conducting an orchestra. Higher interest rates make borrowing costlier, thus encouraging individuals and businesses to save rather than spend. This action is like applying a brake or a leash on the money supply. For instance, during the 1980s, under the leadership of Paul Volcker, the Federal Reserve increased the interest rates to unprecedented levels to combat hyperinflation. This action led to a decrease in spending and borrowing, thereby tightening the money supply. Conversely, when central banks lower interest rates, borrowing becomes less expensive. This encourages spending and investment, which in turn increases the money supply. An example of this would be the response to the 2008 financial crisis, when central banks across the globe, including the Federal Reserve, slashed interest rates to near zero levels. This move was designed to stimulate spending and investment, effectively loosening and expanding the money supply. Central banks manipulate this delicate interplay between interest rates and money supply as a crucial tool to navigate the economic landscape. They can speed up the pace by reducing interest rates or put on the brakes by raising them. It's a delicate balancing act, or that plays a vital role in ensuring economic stability. So, in essence, interest rates serve as a throttle, controlling the flow of money in an economy. But why do central banks decide to control the money supply by adjusting interest rates? Let's not just skim through this question, but rather plunge headlong into its depths, unveiling the secrets behind its complex layers. To begin with, we need to fully understand the pivotal role that central banks play in the global economy. Considered the spine of contemporary economies, central banks bear a paramount role in safeguarding economic steadiness. They stand as the robust pillars that uphold our financial infrastructures, the mute yet mighty forces that shepherd us amidst the stormy seas of economic fluctuations. Central banks are not just local powerhouses, they influence the global financial order. For instance, the U.S. Federal Reserve's decision to raise or lower rates sends ripples across the globe, affecting exchange rates, stock markets, and commodity prices. In 2018 alone, 4 rate hikes by the Fed led to tightening global financial conditions, causing currencies in emerging markets like Turkey and Argentina to plummet. Picture the economy as a tremendous ship, bobbing on the uncertain yet fascinating waters of commerce. As with any vessel, the captain's expertise and decision-making skills are crucial. The central bank, in this analogy, is the experienced captain. It directs the ship with an unyielding hand, tweaking the sails, or in our context, the interest rates, to ensure a seamless journey. Yes, this is a simplistic portrayal of central banks, but in reality, their roles are far more convoluted and nuanced. Diving deeper, when the waters turn rough, signifying an economic recession, the central bank may opt to decrease interest rates. This maneuver made by the Federal Reserve in response to the 2008 financial crisis, for example, resulted in a significant increase in consumer and business spending, effectively preventing a deeper recession. The Bank of England also adopted similar measures 2016 Brexit vote, a move that stabilized the country's economic landscape. However, it's not solely about promoting growth. There are times when the waters are serene and the economy is thriving. In this situation, the central bank undertakes an alternate task. It may hike interest rates, making borrowing costly. For instance, the Reserve Bank of India often uses this tactic to combat high inflation, a move that has proved successful in maintaining economic balance. These maneuvers may be imperceptible to the layman, but they are the hidden currents that keep our economies buoyant. Thus, central banks employ interest rates as their primary instrument. They fine-tune the cost of borrowing money, making it either cheaper or pricier based on the economy's health. It's a meticulous manipulation, a soft push that affects our financial choices, impacts our lifestyles, and molds our societies. Central banks, therefore, use interest rates as a tool to help keep the economy on an even keel. Now, let's delve into some real-world instances of central banks manipulating interest rates. To truly comprehend how these financial powerhouses use interest rates as an economic control, we'll explore several captivating examples in recent history, the first of which occurred during the aftermath of the 2008 financial crisis. It was a period of profound economic disarray, marked by rampant instability and a sense of looming collapse. The monumental task of stabilizing an economy on the verge of disaster fell on the Federal Reserve, commonly referred to as the Fed. When the housing market crashed, it sent shockwaves through the global financial sector. Unemployment rates accelerated to record-breaking highs, with millions being displaced from the workforce. The stock market plummeted, erasing years of substantial gains. The future looked bleak, and rapid, decisive action was critically needed. The Fed's response was swift and radical. They significantly lowered interest rates to revive the ailing economy. This action took place over a year, from September 2007 to December 2008. During this period, the federal funds rate, which dictates the interest rate at which banks lend funds maintained at the Federal Reserve to other banks, was reduced from a robust 5.25% to a mere range of 0 to 0.25%. This strategic move was designed to stimulate economic activity by reducing the cost of borrowing, encouraging spending and investment, essentially resuscitating the stagnating economy. For our next example, let's travel across the pond to the United Kingdom. In November 2017, the Bank of England, facing different economic conditions, adopted a different approach. After maintaining a historically low interest rate of 0.5% for a decade to recover from the financial crisis, the bank considered it necessary to increase the rate to 0.75%. This rate hike was a measure taken to combat rising inflation, which had exceeded the bank's target of 2%. By increasing interest rates, they aimed to slow spending and alleviate inflationary pressures. The intention was to make borrowing more expensive, prompting consumers to reduce their spending, thereby reducing demand-pull inflation. Venturing further, let's dive into another fascinating example from the European Central Bank, ECB. After the financial crisis of 2008, the ECB slashed its main interest rate to a historic low of 1% in 2009. But by 2011, faced with rising inflation, the ECB raised it to 1.5%. However, Eurozone debt crisis forced them to reverse course, leading to rates being cut to 0% by 2016, where it stands till now. On the other side of the world, the Bank of Japan took a different route. Faced with a persistent deflationary spiral and sluggish growth, it adopted a negative interest rate policy in 2016, charging banks for holding deposits, an unprecedented move aimed at encouraging banks to lend and stimulate economic activity. These compelling examples from the United States, the United Kingdom, the European Union, and Japan highlight the universal truth that central banks worldwide employ similar strategies for economic management. Whether it's the need to ignite growth during recessionary periods or cool an overheating economy, interest rates serve as powerful and versatile instruments in the arsenal of central banks. These institutions understand that meticulous management of interest rates can steer their respective economies in the desired direction, ensuring stability and growth. These examples reflect how central banks globally use interest rates as a potent tool to guide their economies. To conclude, let's rehash the key points touched upon. In our educational journey, we've extensively explored the intricate relationship between interest rates and money, a dynamic that has a profound impact on economies worldwide. The central banks lie at the core of this balancing act, presenting themselves as our guiding stars in this financial constellation, adeptly manipulating rates to steer their economies to the safe harbor of stability. We've also dived into real-world scenarios, highlighting the tangible effects of these financial decisions. For instance, we examined how the Federal Reserve's decision to lower interest rates during the 2008 recession stimulated borrowing and investment, ultimately fueling economic recovery. Additionally, we looked at how Japan's central bank grappled with deflation by implementing negative interest rates, a bold move that showed the immense power of these institutions. We've gone beyond the superficial implications and delved into the mechanics of these concepts. Our deep dive into these theories has helped us to appreciate their value not as standalone phenomena, but as vital components of the complex machinery that central banks employ to maintain their economies on the right track. Our study of the inflation rates data provided a stark illustration of this. Our journey has painted a detailed canvas of how central these concepts are to the world economy. By understanding these ideas, we can comprehend how banks operate and assume a deeper understanding of their roles in our economies. This brings us to our key takeaway. The ability to manipulate interest rates and money supply is not just a testament to the power of central banks, but a reflection of the intricacy of global economies. The power of interest rates and money supply is indeed a captivating subject, and we hope the understanding you've gained here will prove invaluable in your journey of financial enlightenment. As we transition from understanding the past and present, let's cast our gaze towards the future, speculating on what lies ahead. Predicting interest rate trends is no easy task, given the myriad of factors at play. However, with our newfound understanding of the interplay between interest rates and money supply, we can attempt to make some educated guesses. Looking at the current global economic landscape, we may see a period of low interest rates persist in many countries. Factors such as the ongoing pandemic recovery, geopolitical tensions, and a global shift towards a digital economy could influence this trend. What could this mean for our global economies? Persistently low interest rates could stimulate borrowing and investment, potentially leading to economic growth. However, they also run the risk of creating asset bubbles as investors search for higher returns in riskier assets. This delicate balance between stimulating growth and avoiding financial instability is something central banks will have to navigate. In emerging economies, we might see a different picture. As these countries grapple with the challenges of inflation and capital flight, their central banks may have to raise interest rates, impacting their growth prospects. But remember, these are just speculations. The future is a complex tapestry woven from countless threads of possibility, influenced by a multitude of unpredictable factors. However, by understanding the power and the role of interest rates and money supply, we can better equip ourselves to navigate the uncertain waters of the future. We hope that this exploration of potential future scenarios has provided you with food for thought and sparks your curiosity to keep learning and understanding the fascinating world of finance.